Very good morning to one and all. Welcome to this bank audit session. Today, for this session, I would like to introduce myself. I am Premnath, Chartered Accountant. Along with me, CA Vijay Kumar sir is also there. Vijay Srinivas sir, sorry. Both of us will be taking this session today on bank audit. The flow of the session will be first we'll be talking about very basics of the banking industry. Number one. So let me make a note of the logical flow of what we are going to talk now. One, about banking industry. This is for the reason to comply with SA 250. That is laws and regulations governing. So to comply with that standard, now we are trying to understand what a banking industry is. Number two, as a part of this, we need to understand the risks in banking industry. Why risk? The purpose of understanding the risk is so that auditor will not be giving a material and erroneous audit report. Uh, to avoid to avoid erroneous reporting, we have to understand the risks. Three, risks will impact material misstatement. Hence, this logical flow will be to understand the banking industry. As a part of understanding the banking industry, we'll try to understand the major risks and how this risk will convert into a material misstatement so that auditor will not issue a erroneous reporting. Next one. So what are risks? Risks will result into what? Risks will result, how do I identify these risks is what we are trying to understand. How to identify risks is we have to start from early warning signals from the transactions, early warning signals from transaction, then early warning signals later on will get converted into red flags. Then red flags may get converted into a fraud. Frauds may get converted into NPAs. NPA is non-performing asset. What is NPA is? NPA will impact deposits of the bank. Deposits or net worth of the bank is impacted. So logically what we are trying to understand, again I am saying, repeating, we'll start with banking industry understanding. Just I'll not be spending much time on this. Then what are the general risks in the banking industry? And that risks I am now giving here is early warning signals. Then early warning signals from the transaction I need to understand the risks. If I understand the early warning signals, then I am able to understand the red flags, because early warning signals, which is called as EWS. EWS will result into red flags, will result into fraud, will result into NPA, will have an impact on the banking deposits. If deposits are gone, net worth is gone, or whatever it is. So what is bank audit again? So as a part of all this, for risks, early warning signal, banking industry, all that to understand, we need to understand RBI Act and other legal framework. This is the broad spectrum with which we will be under. Banking industry is, it takes money. Banking industry is just takes money from public or from anyone, accepts money, lends money. This is the very short form, and also gives guarantee. Yes. Now, what is the risk in this? When I lend a money, if the borrower doesn't have a repayment capacity, the borrower is not having a repayment capacity, then he will not repay. If he doesn't repay, the money which is lent out of the acceptance of money, this money will get bad. Lent, the money which is lent as an advance will become bad. Once the money which I have lent is becoming bad, I cannot repay my deposits. This is the biggest risk. Now, the total RBI Act and legal framework is continuously talking about risk, nothing else. That risk about the money that is being accepted. So this is risk. How to find risk is early warning signals. What is early warning signal? For example, say I have taken a loan, I have to repay in 30 days. 30 days over, I am not repaid. 31 days, 32, 35 days, I am not repaying. Number one. 60 days are over, I am not repaying. Now it is giving a signal that this person may become bad. One, from transactions. Like say, for example, when he has taken a loan, he will tell that I am having 5 crores of income, so give me 20,000 of loan or 50,000 of loan. He says that I have 5 crores of loan and 5 crores of 5 crores of income. This 5 crores of income he has shown in the bank statements. You see my bank statement, there is so much of credits in my bank statement. Because there are credits, this is my income, so you give me a loan. Now, after taking the loan, slowly the bank credits of the borrower keep reducing, or whenever a check is presented, the check is getting dishonored. Meaning, whatever checks are deposited by the borrower are getting dishonored. Now, that is an indication that it's an early warning signal that his borrower's checks, whatever he is depositing, is getting bounced, meaning it is giving an indication that this account is going to become bad. Now, slowly, because of that, earlier he has shown 5 crores of income, now he is showing only 1 crore of income. Now, there is then more number of red flags are coming out. Like, say, for example, an GST officer has freezed the account. It is a red flag, early warning signal, red flag. And then once the early warning signal and red flags are happening, then banker will think that, okay, let me go and visit the unit, whether this person is there or not. When he goes to the unit inspection, then the unit is closed. While he has sanctioned a loan, the on the board that was there while he was sanctioning a loan, the board has a name called ABC Private Limited. By the time he has gone there for inspection, there is no ABC, there is XYZ Private Limited company is there. Then when he inquires, he says no person called ABC is here, meaning the borrower has vanished, meaning that it become an NPA, it become a fraud, meaning he borrowed loan and defrauded the bank and vanished. Now that account automatically becomes NPA. Now what happens? Whatever amount I have borrowed, which I have given as a advance, is becoming bad loan. When it becomes a bad loan, NPA is a bad loan. So it will automatically impact the banking net worth and its deposits. So this is a very simple risk we said. Then as we go in, we can understand so many other things. Okay. Now further what we need to understand is, like, majority of the businesses are maintained in Tally. Banks maintain their transactions Banks transactions are all in CBS. So what is the CBS? Let me just show you the CBS, how many types of CBS. That is, yeah, these are the CBS. CBS means it is core banking solution system, core banking system. Core banking system is CBS, meaning you call in business, you call in manufacturing, we generally call ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. Enterprise Resource Planning and CBS are one and same. You call Enterprise Resource Planning in banking, you call that as CBS. So we have Tally ERP, you have SAP ERP, so on and so on. In the same way, how many ERPs are there? How many ERPs are there? Sorry, how many CBS is there or how many ERPs are there in India? In India, we have Finacle by Infosys, which is used in Bank of Baroda, Union Bank, Bank of India, Canara Bank, etc. Sorry, Canara Bank comes under FlexiCube. These are this. Next, banks. Banks is by TCS. All SBI and its cooperative banks will come under banks at 24. It is called as banks at 24. So SBI branches and SBI subsidiaries mostly generally will be under BANCS at 24. It is called as Finacle by Infosys, banks by TCS. Next it is FlexiCube is all in the Canara Bank. Canara Bank, Syndicate Bank has merged with Canara Bank. So FlexiCube is given by Oracle. So what we need to understand now is all the concepts now. What concepts? SOL, that is service outlets. SOL. SOL is like simply a IFC kind. Uh, it's a code. Branch code is you have IFSC code. IFSC code we know very well about the IFSC code. It is something like to identify the service outlets in all this. It's called service outlet is a branch code. Each entity will have a code, so branch has a code. Similarly, banks. So it's data stored centrally, updated real time. CBS terminal shows live data filtered for branch, that is SOL ID. Meaning this is all online banking. We all know this. I don't want to spend much time on it. This is very important for us. So because the moment you get the bank audit, you will automatically know under which environment we are working. The way in which you operate Finacle is different from banks and FlexiCube. The reports that are generated in Finacle, banks, and FlexiCube are entirely different. That should not be a problem because your senior partners might be educating you more onto that. Okay, coming back. RBI mandates daily automated NPA identification via CBS. So manual overrides are red flags. So these are the CBS. Okay, let us come back to where we are trying to write some notes now. So banks are working under transactions are recorded under CBS. So for our audit reports, we have to take reports from CBS. So now important point for us is understand the controls in CBS so that we rely on CBS reports. This is what main function for us. You may ask me whether CBS generates a wrong reports. That is why. What are the risks? What are the risks in CBS which results in unreliable reports is what you need to understand. Meaning why this happens is configuration errors or ineffective configuration leads to risks in CBS. Like say for example, to get connected to you easily in Tally, whether depreciation rates are feeded in Tally so that Tally will automatically generate a fixed assets register or statement as per Schedule 3. You know very well. Number 2, we all know Tally has a feature for GST rates automation wherein the moment you select a product, rate is automatically configured so that filing of GSTR 1, 3B, etc., is effective only when GST related configuration is properly done in the Tally. If it is not properly done, you and I will be doing lot of reconciliations. In the same way, if CBS configuration is not properly done, lot of reconciliations or lot of errors are possible. If errors are possible, this is a risk. If there is a risk, then there can be a reporting risk. If there is a reporting risk, then there will be an auditor giving a wrong report, erroneous report, wrong error. The auditor may give a erroneous report. Hence, most important today, as I have started and as we have started discussing, most important is we have understood the banking industry, we have understood the banking risks. In addition to the banking risk, now we have to understand the CBS risk. So how to do this CBS risk is what today our agenda. Okay. So we have understood banking risk. Now let us go into the CBS risk. Because if CBS is good, reports is good, reporting is good, there is no material misstatement. If there is no material misstatement, auditor will not have any problem in giving a true and fair report. So all this bank audit now boils down to the CBS only because we have to rely on the reports. Now, now let's come back to the audit. What is audit? Audit is you give an assertion in the audit that it is true and fair. Management is giving assertion true and fair. Management is giving true and fair assertion based on the risks and controls that are there in the banking. Now, I am giving audit assurance based on the audit risks and auditor controls on the audit risk. Follow me carefully. Business has a risk, auditor also has a risk. So, auditor follows the risks and controls of audit. The controls are auditing standards. For banking, the controls are framework. Banking business controls are all the framework. Framework is if the loan is not repaid in 90 days, then they say you make it as an NPA. That is a rule. That is a control. That is a framework. In the same way, you have in audit the framework. The audit framework is auditing standards. Standard says that you maintain a document, you make a planning, you should have a materiality, all these things they talk about. So this is this. Okay, you have lot of audit assertions and then lot of standards that you have to comply. How do you comply? To comply these standards, you need to have a procedure. That procedure is here. Okay, now let's come back to the CBS. Now I want to understand whether CBS has any errors. How do you find out CBS has an error? You all know that you have a concept called black box approach and white box approach. Now I am following here a black box approach to understand the CBS controls. Why? Because you and I cannot open the CBS syntax. Like, can you and I open the Tally syntax? How Tally program runs inside the Tally? Do you ever opened a program and started reading the number of lines? The package like VB code, you and I can read a VB code, but can we read a code that runs Tally, you and I cannot read the code of Tally. In the similar form, you and I cannot read the program that is making the CBS to run. You and I cannot read. So how do you find out that there are errors now? So we find out through the black box. Okay, how do you do this? Is black box. Black box is you take CBS reports. How do you get this CBS reports? How do you generate CBS reports? In Tally, you know very well. You go to gateway of Tally, and on the right side you will find balance sheet, profit and loss account, and then you will find various columns you can generate: purchase register, sale register. You can generate various reports in Tally. In the same way, you can generate various reports in CBS. Okay, how do I get these CBS reports? Whether the CBS reports for Finacle, banks, FlexiCube, is it same? No, it is all different. How that will work? Let me show you. Institute ICAI Journal, ICAI Journal 2023 March has given CBS commands for report generation for various platforms. That is what I am now trying to show you. This is the ICAI Bank Audit, ICAI Journal. I hope students can relate the journal. I hope majority of them know how a journal will be. Journal which is released on a monthly basis. This is a journal of 2023 March journal this is. So in this overview of CBS, this is what we have just now shown you, various banks, etc. Coming back here. Now you find here, this is Finacle 10. Finacle has various versions, like Tally has a version of 6.3, 7.2, 9.1, ERP, etc. etc. In the similar form, Finacle has 10 version, 9 version, 6 version, etc. etc. Most of the places now Finacle 10 is running. Okay. Now what does, see, if I want to validate balance sheet, how do you validate balance sheet? Balance sheet cash is there. How do you look at cash? This is the menu commands. It is called as menu commands. Commands is, I am writing here, CBS menu commands. So this menu command you have to type in the CBS. Once you type this menu command, then um, a screen opens, and then on the screen you can navigate into it. Okay, let me just show you how this looks like, so that you will just able to, you can easily get connected to it. Yeah, these are the screens. You see the screen here, illustrative reports of advances in MIS. RPT is report. Now you find here various reports. Do not bother, all these reports are there as I have shown you in this journal. It is there, which is available widely on the net also. Even otherwise, I am going to drop all these things in a Google Drive, which we will be sharing you the code, QR code. You can download it now. So these are all various report commands. Next, what happens? Do you see here menu shortcut? Menu shortcut MIS report. This is where you need to type this. Type and say go. Then you will go to the Finacle core banking. These are all the menus here. Once you have gone there, then you have here menu commands here. Then once you press that, then you will get what is that you want, which module you want. MIS report, which module do you want? NPA, which report number you want it. Once you do all these things, then it will ask for the customer borrower account details and all, then automatically the report will be generated. Now You can take the reports into, you can generate the reports into Excel. You can just see here, reports can be generated into Excel or text file like this. Now, even if you are not able to do it, what you can do is on the screen, this is a screenshot. On the screen, say Control A, it will select, Control C, then go back to any text file, Control V. Text is copied. Once text is copied, I hope you all know text to Excel, you can easily convert. Once you convert into text to Excel, now whatever analysis you want, you can do it. What I am trying to demonstrate to you now is various shortcut menus how you have to operate the Finacle. Okay, let us stop this here. Let's go back to our understanding now. Yeah, so we are here now. Where did we stop? We have stopped at this place. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, so I have shown you how to extract a file just now. After extracting the file, we have to use some. What will you do with an Excel? In Excel, you will be using sort, filter, if condition, VLOOKUP, pivot table, financial modeling. These are the things that you will be 99% of the time in bank, in Excel, you will only be using sort, filter, if condition, VLOOKUP, pivot and financial modeling. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? You are doing this as a part of system study to ensure that the data extracted is free from material misstatement. Let us see now. I have now extracted an Excel statement of loan file. I have extracted a loan file. So generally a loan file will have account number, customer master, name, loan. Like something like a, it is a debtor statement. Loan is what? It is a debtor statement. Like you think about a debtor statement of a manufacturing company or a trading company. Every trading company and every manufacturing company which has a sales, they also have a sales registers, not sales register, sorry. They have a debtors register. This is a debtors register. What do you have? You have an account number. What is this customer ID? Suppose, say for example, in a manufacturing company, you have account number, you have this Thirumani, some Thirumani Prasad is an account. Now, whether he will be having only one account, like say for example, a manufacturer, say Thirumani Prasad is a debtor, whether he'll have only one account, Thirumani Prasad is having a shop in Vijayawada, Thirumani Prasad is having a shop in Hyderabad. Now, a manufacturer has opened a Thirumani Prasad as one account, but he is having two shops, one shop in Hyderabad, one shop in Vijayawada. So for each shop, different accounts is allocated. In the banking also, Tirumani Prasad is having one customer ID. Tirumani Prasad is having loan account. Tirumani Prasad is having uh, RD account. Is having housing loan. He is having car loan. He is having business loan. He is having fixed deposits. He is having savings account. He is also having CC account. Possible. So this person has number of accounts, but all accounts of Tirumani will be definitely should be linked to one customer ID. Like one person will have only one PAN number. One person has one PAN number. GSTN number, for each state, you last digit and the first digits, two digits will be indicating, but the rest of it is all same. So in the similar form, you have one customer ID. Okay, understand this very well. Why the customer account plays a dominant role is, if one account becomes bad, all the accounts of this person should also become NPA. That is the rule of IRAC norms. Why this rule? Why this rule is very simple. Why this rule is, if one loan account has become bad, meaning that all the this person is in trouble. So he could not pay his car loan. Meaning, if he is in trouble, not able to pay car loan, will he pay his son education loan, or sorry, his housing loan? He will not repay his housing loan. Whether he will repay his gold loan, he may not able to repay. So, from the prudence point of view, what RBI has said is, if one account becomes bad, all the accounts related to him should also become bad. The control for that is to ensure that every borrower, every account should be linked to the customer ID. This is the essence. Okay, be that clear. This is the significance of it. So, further, before I go into the understanding, for any report that you take from the any report, any CBS report, analyze column wise possible errors. Report account customer ID. Now, how do you read the account? First four letters or five letters, first five letters will be the code of that bank. SOL, we have understood about SOL. Do you remember? We were talking about SOL, Sol Service Outlet, this service outlet number. Now, what is the last? Last digit is the serial number of the product. What is the product? You have five digits belongs to a product. Say, for example, this product is a housing loan product. So, all that is starting with this is a code of account number, branch, and then you have a product code, that is whether it is loan, first three digits, after that three digits will be loan or a deposit, after that serial number, last one will be the serial number of the product. So, in what way this is important for us? In what way this is important is, if you can segregate this number, you will immediately find out whether this is a car loan, housing loan, education loan, etc. etc. Why we should know? Why we should know is, the rules for car loan, rules for education loan, rules for business loan will be entirely different. So accordingly, you have to understand the configuration of the loan account. Okay, now let us come back. Now let us move faster here. From here, now I am trying to find out the risk. What is the risk? Whether this person will repay the loan properly or not. That is what is all about the bank audit. Now let us start. Now I see here NPA date. NPA date is already given to this particular borrower, meaning this account has already become bad. Since this is a debtor statement, loan statement, good or bad, all names will come here. If it is already becoming NPA, date will come. Okay, let us see here. I'll remove the filter. Now I'll again put the filter here. Now let us see here. Now there are some places where blank, meaning if NPA date is not there, if it is blank, meaning that this account has not become NPA. Now, what is the role of chartered accountant student here? The role of chartered accountant is, as I said, because of the CBS reports, risk in CBS reports, there is a possibility, though the account has become NPA, the system has not identified it as NPA. Like in GST, the rate configuration is not properly done in the in the tally. Because of that, the rate of GST for a particular product is 28, but the accountant has wrongly entered as 18%. So because of that, what happens? The the payment of GST is understated. In the similar form, if in the banking CBS, if the configuration is not properly done, the NPA date may not be properly identified by the CBS. If it is not identified, there is a material misstatement. If auditor is not able to find out the correct NPA date, then we are giving a wrong report. There is a risk for the auditor. So, now the role of chartered accountant here is to validate whether this account is really NPA It is really NPA, but the banker has not identified this as NPA and hence the date is not entered. Okay, how do I find out? Let us come back here. Now understand. I'll come back to this again. I'll type here. What is the analysis that we will be writing here? I've just jumped the other sheet. Analysis. What is that analysis we carry out now is use other column content to validate content of another columns. For example, I'll repeat again. Use other column contents to validate the content of important columns. Let me put it in this way. Right. I'll repeat, use the other column content. Other column content here is sanction date and EMI date. Other column content. Sorry. I am using use other column content. Other column content, sanction date and EMI. I am using this to validate content of important column. What is important here? NPA date is important. I want to now validate whether this is whether this is NPA or not. How do I validate? Now come back. You all know sanction date minus EMI start date is a moratorium. So for generally moratorium will be how many months? Moratorium, how many months moratorium will be? Say for example, education loan you all know very well. For an education loan, the period of education is say MBBS is 5 years. 5 years plus 1.5 to 2 years of time is given depending upon the bank policy. So generally 7 years repayment holiday is given. During that period interest has to be repaid, but principal will never start. So that is a moratorium. Say for a car loan, do you have a moratorium? You don't have a moratorium for car loan. For housing loan, do you have a moratorium? Yes. Housing loan will generally have a moratorium of 18 months to 24 months. Max is 24. Why this moratorium is given? Moratorium is given so that borrower will have a income generation to repay the loan logically. Now, okay. Now, what should be the maximum moratorium? I am trying to validate whether it is an NPA date, but to avoid writing as NPA is possible that if the moratorium is increased, the account will become non-NPA. Let us see. Say I look at the moratorium here, look at the moratorium filter, you find here 160 months of moratorium. Can there be a product, can there be any product which is 160 months? There cannot be a product which is 160 months of moratorium, meaning definitely something wrong is going on in the CBS. This is called as professional skepticism, which is used in our auditing standards, which is abnormal. How did you find out this abnormal? You have extracted a file. Now you have used a if condition. What is if condition on this? How did you find the moratorium? This is the formula. What is the formula? Dated if, meaning if this date minus this date in months is a formula. Is this formula starting with if? So it is if condition. Now after that, what did you do? After this, you have used filter. So you have used filter. You can sort on highest to lowest moratorium sort. You can prepare pivot table for loan product wise. You have a product configuration in this. So product wise you can find out minimum, maximum, average moratorium, meaning that you can do it with pivot table. What are you understanding now? What are we doing now? We are using on this extracted file, you are carrying out analysis with the help of sort, filter, if condition, VLOOKUP and pivot table for understanding whether the system is correct or not. This is called black box approach. How do you do? How do we do? Now we are doing here now. Just look at, let me just take now number filter greater than, say for example, let us think maximum moratorium. Let us think that this bank has given all housing loans only. So I will take more than 25 months moratorium. Now I have taken sorted out more than 25 months moratorium, and now I see here there is no NPA. Let me just take out this and then see. I'll select all. Moratorium which is having 54 months has already become an NPA here. Do you see this? Similarly, let me take, there is a moratorium of 159 months, but this account has not become moratorium. Sorry, this account has not become NPA. Is it possible? This is not possible. Meaning what? If this is not possible means there is professional skepticism, it is unusual. So what you have to do, what I have to do, my procedure now is I will hide and select only the blanks. Now wherever unusual things, this is unusual. This is unusual. 100 months of moratorium, it is not becoming NPA. So many years. So what I have to do? Now I have to inquire. That is what I have written here. Now you have carried out a system study with professional skepticism. Now you are trying to find out deviations, inquire for NPA. Whether this deviation of 100 months, 159 months of moratorium is really a NPA, inquire. Deviations, inquire for NPA, inquire for documentation deficiency, inquire for non-compliance. How do you inquire? You have to make a note of this, and here you will start writing your notes. Now you will go back to CBS. How do you go back to CBS? You will go to the CBS, like this is where the CBS starts. You will type the account number and you will open that account number, see really when the loan is given and when is the start date. If required, you will go back to the physical documents. When he has signed the loan document, he will physically sign a loan document. You will take that physical loan document and again verify whether the loan repayment start date mentioned in the document is correctly entered in the system or not. That you will start now doing based on this analysis. Now you can see here, there are some places where EMI start date is not mentioned in the system. Like that, how many accounts are there? Let me just check how many accounts are there. EMI start date is not fixed in the EMI start date not mentioned in the system. Interest rate not fixed in the system. Moratorium to be checked. Okay. These are all the errors that are there in the system. Because of these errors, whether the system, because of these errors, whether the account has become NPA, let us see the NPA date now. I have hidden now. Now you can just see NPA date is not fixed, NPA dot not fixed, but still the account has not made these two as NPA. But this account has already become NPA. I hope you are able to understand. NPA date is not fixed in the system. NPA date not fixed, but still it has become NPA. But here it is not fixed. What is this called as? This is called as what we are trying to understand here as system study. Meaning, now after understanding, after carrying out this process, Excel, you found a deviation with professional skepticism. The deviation you have inquiring, now you are inquiring whether it is NPA. Now you have decided that it is an NPA. Now you are finding what is the root cause for this error. What is the root cause for the error where NPA date is not fixed? What is the root cause for why NPA date is not coming here? Meaning that the NPA, even if you don't enter EMI start date, the system will save. Like in your tally, you don't enter, you don't configure GST rates, still you can process sales transaction and purchase transaction. In the similar form, if that is a case, if that is a case where in your tally, if system in tally, if GST rates are not mentioned, you can still file your GST returns by making a reconciliation outside the tally. But in CBS, you know RBI circular, I've already demonstrated here. RBI mandates daily automation of NPA. If very important, if this very important condition wherein EMI start date has to be entered, if this is not entered, how will system calculate? The system cannot calculate. So there can be an error, and that is what I said here. It can result in errors. Yeah. Right. So the system can result into errors. Why? Because this is a risk. This is risk in CBS. This is risk in CBS. Because of the risk in CBS, we are carrying out this process. Now, we are finding the root cause through a system study. Okay, why are we doing all this? The purpose of audit is to report. Where are you reporting? You have to report in IAR, that is called as Independent Audit Report. Like in manufacturing companies or service companies, for companies, you have three types of report, that is Independent Audit Report, CARO, IFC. In the similar form, for banking also, you have independent audit report, you have LFAR, something like CARO, you have IFC, you have IFC here. In addition to that, you also have a Ghosh and Jilani report and other returns. These are various returns that you will be filing, signing as a statutory auditor. So what we do is, all this process observation should be automatically linked to the reporting. I'll come back to that. This process, you should have a planning. I'll come back to this planning little later. Let us complete this analysis now. Whether this analysis is final, we have now validated only the NPA date. Is it final? Only NPA date we find out and then close the audit? No. I have to validate whether my closing balance is correct or not. The closing balance that is generated, the closing balance that is generated by the CBS, is it correct or wrong? I have to validate. Like the EMI date which is generated here, is it correct or wrong? The EMI start date which is mentioned here is correct or not. We are validating. In the same way, I am trying to validate whether outstanding balance is correct or not. How do I validate? Now to validate that, I am using Excel function. What is that Excel function? Called as formula financial cumulative interest and cumulative principal. To calculate cumulative interest and cumulative principal, to calculate this, we need to have, you can just see here, cumulative principal formula. To calculate that, you have here something called S. S. S is number of EMIs as on the date of audit. If you know, then you can calculate the interest that should have been serviced during the period, principal that he should have paid during the period. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing? Let me explain here. If data entry errors, why CBS controls this? We are trying to understand. Okay, come back. Now, what is closing balance? Let me type so that you are in well control with what we are discussing. What is closing balance? Closing balance is loan less repayment, loan plus, say for example, loan plus interest plus charges less repayment, that is repayment of EMI, less interest repayment is equal to closing balance. Now, how do I validate this? I don't want to open the ledger account because there are, now if you can just see here, how many ledger accounts are there, how many loan accounts are there, 1999, meaning 2000 loan accounts are there in this. 2000 loan accounts, you open all the 2000 loan accounts, then it is not possible. So that is the reason why we are using a shortcut. What could have been the interest? What could have been the principal? How much of EMI repaid during the period? How much of interest repaid during the year? If you know, we can find out the closing balance. How do I find out EMI repayment, principal repayment? How can I find out interest repayment? Is through this formula, called through this formula called cumulative interest, that is debited, paid during the year, cumulative principal paid during the period. To know that, you have to calculate number of EMIs, that is S2. This is S2 column. How do you calculate this? Is number of EMIs is again loan start date M2. M2 is the loan start date. Loan start date is M2. Loan start date minus the date of audit. This is the date of audit. So these are the number of EMIs that has passed from the date of loan. For this EMIs, he should have paid this much of interest and this much of principal. So how much he should have paid by this time? Total payable. Now what is the loan amount? Now you have a loan sanctioned amount here, 35 lakhs. 35 lakhs minus interest minus principal should be your closing balance. Now what is the actual closing balance? You have actual closing balance here. Now auditor closing balance is theoretical balance and actual closing balance in CBS is this. Auditor closing balance is showing more, theoretical balance is showing 47 lakhs, CBS is showing 33 balance, meaning why this is he has overpaid, meaning if he has to pay during the year 10 lakhs, he has paid 15 lakhs, meaning this account is good or bad? This account is good. Why? Because the difference is negative. You can change the formula in reverse also. Because the account is negative, it is not irregular. Irregular is not, he is paying on time. He is paying on time is called as not irregular. Irregular is not paying on time is irregular. Now you can just see this particular case. Theoretical balance is 0 here and actual balance is 3 lakhs 37, meaning theoretically today his balance should be 0, but is still having a closing balance, meaning theoretically he should have repaid the account by this time, but still closing balance, meaning what? He has not repaid, meaning it is irregular. When irregular? If the balance is greater than 0. If it is irregular, what is NPA? NPA is greater than 90 days. Now I will calculate here irregular by number of amount of EMI. Irregular divided by EMI. EMI is K3. K3 is EMI. So it is irregular by 1. So the account is bad. Now if I can filter here, you know very well NPA is greater than 3 months. 3 months is 90 days. So wherever it is greater than 90 days or 3 months, the account is irregular. Now I want to cross check whether bank has made this as NPA. I'll go back to the NPA date here. So I will hide all this. Now I am comparing. It is 26 months is definitely NPA. Banker has not made it as NPA. Now let me just filter it again. Now I am filtering here LPA greater than, say for example, 3 months only, but maybe I made some errors. So I am giving a margin of error. Say I'll say 8 months greater than. Now wherever NPA date is there, we are not bothered about it. We are only bothered about blanks. Now do you see here 26 EMIs are pending. The account has not made as NPA. Now these are all the accounts that you have to inquire. How to inquire? Go into the CBS. How to go into the CBS? How to go into the CBS is, I have already told you. This is how you have to go into CBS with all menu commands. Go into CBS, check whether what our calculations is correct or wrong. You can verify, cross verify. Come back again. I am repeating again. We are doing data analytics to understand the system study, because CBS errors will lead to a balance sheet error. If balance sheet error, it is a risk to the auditor. Hence, you are doing a black box approach. You are doing this black box approach on the extracted files. How to extract files, I have already explained. Now, how do you carry out analytics is only with this sort, filter, if condition, VLOOKUP, pivot table is the only analysis. Now you have deviations, you have inquired deviation, you have found out the root cause. Now after finding out the root cause, now you are trying to make a reporting. Now all this has to be planned, well planned. Now let us go to the planning. Let us go to the planning. You all know the moment you get an appointment letter, we have to send an audit engagement letter, SA 200, SA 210, all that. So when you are sending an audit engagement letter, you also have to send them what is the requirement, that is what is your requirement to carry out the procedure. This is the procedure that you are carrying out. To carry out this procedure, you need to have a information. What information? This information. Why this information? Because this information is required to report in LFR, to report in ICOFAR, to report in Goshen Jilani, to report in other statements, to report in IAR. To report all this, you need to have information. You have information, you carry out this procedures. So what information? You need to ask around, there are 105 pieces of information you need to ask the banker. When should you ask? Not after reaching the bank. Before the bank, before you, on accepting the bank audit, you have to send this information request that I need all this information. Okay, why you need this information? To report in LFAR 7. Okay, who will read this information? A partner here. How do you get these names here? Because the sheet has a team of people who are going to work. The team of people who are going to work, audit assistant, I will write Kishore. Kishore will verify this. Okay, now Kishore is added here. Let me just go through now. Now, who will do this? Duly audited signed closing returns. Who will verify this? Mr. Kishore will verify this. Okay. Now you have taken information. Bank you have obtained. Now you have asked information. Did you receive? You have to mention here whether you have received or pending. Okay, you have received this. You receive and keep quiet. On the information that you have received, you have to carry out the analysis. I have carried out analysis and found out some deficiencies. Now, whether these deficiencies were communicated to the banker, you communicate this as per SA 265. You have to communicate with the banker as per SA 265. Communication those charged with governance. Whatever observations, this documentation also you need to have. Okay, this observation what you made, is it a significant issue? What is significant? Is it a wrong classification? Is it misappropriation? Is it fraud? Is it non-compliance to any HO circular? Because there are 195 rows here. For each row you have to identify significant issue. Whether it is not a significant issue? Okay. If it is significant, where will you mention in the LFAR? How many points you have to mention in LFAR? How many points are there in LFAR? How many points are there in CARO? You have 22, 23 points in CARO. But in LFAR, how many you have? There are 117 points in LFAR. So which point will you tag here? Now, okay, you have done all this. Do you have an annexure for this working? Yes. Now, in addition to the LFAR, are you going to mention in MOC? That is, MOC is called as a Memorandum of Changes. Now, whether the same point are you going to mention in Goshen Janani? Are you going to mention in any other certificates? Because that is your reporting requirement. Your reporting requirement is this. Now, what do you understand by this? By this Excel sheet, by this Excel sheet, I am trying to have a full control of my audit procedures. So this is Excel. Now is Excel final, or do you have any other tool? Can we use AI tools to make our audit automation simple? Let me check. How AI will be useful for you? Let us try to understand how AI will be useful for us. Let us try to understand how AI will be useful for our audit. Right. Now this is HTML file generated out of AI. Don't worry, you will also be trained on how to do this. Now, one of the first point in LFAR is whether does the system ensure cache maintained effectively. To comment on this, to comment on any, like I've been telling again and again, to comment on the report, you need to have a documents or information. You need to have information. Like I go back again to this. To comment on information, LFAR, you need to have information. To comment on LFAR, I'm just taking you again. To comment on cache, You need to have what information? Cash retention limit. This is the information that you need to have. If you have this information, now you will start responding yes, no, not applicable, partially. You will write partially. Okay. Now what are the documents that you have observed? I will write cash book is verified, then cash counter scroll is verified, cash box verified, cash physical verification. Who has done this? This is done by Kishore. What is the observation? Cash not matching. Register not signed. Now, whatever observation I have made, where it has to go? It has to directly go into the observations. Now, save this observation. I have saved. I have marked it as done. Flag this issue. It is in progress now. Now, I have done report in LFAR. By this, what happens is your documentation, your report is all final. You can see here cash retention limit increased, then who has done this action, point on this. Now add observation. Now just now we have entered one point here, somewhere it will come. Now all that points are automatically entered into, this is a tool, LFR. This is a dashboard, 117 LFR observations. How many you have completed? What are the documents you are verifying? LFR checklist. So 117 checklist you have. Audit control sheet, what we have seen now, who has done, which partner has done, what is the status going on. What is all this? All this is nothing but your planning and procedure and documentation as per SA 230. What is all this? Audit. Audit is simply, come back again, where we have started before I hand it over to Vijay Srinivas sir. Where we have started is, we have started with understanding the banking risks, accepting money and lending. There are risks not only in business. These business transactions are accounted in CBS. CBS is also having a risk. Because of risk, we have seen that the reports are wrongly generated. Because wrongly generated report is not a material misstatement, is not a is wrongly generated is a material misstatement. If it is materially misstated, auditor may give a wrong report. When he gives a wrong report, then auditor is automatically attracting the DC proceedings and other regulatory issues the auditor is bound to. He is having a risk. So what we have, I again repeat, we have started with all this. Now what is that we have completed? We have completed sorry, we have completed loans. How many types of loan? There are two types of loan: term loan and working capital loan. Working capital loan is called as working capital loan is called as CC loan, CC and OD loan. The other one is term loan. So now we have completed term loan. We have working capital loan, which I will take up little later. So summing up what we have discussed now is, we have discussed about early warning signal, red flag, fraud, NPA, bad loan, deposits will go away. Now we have found out that whether they are complying with the RBI financial and legal framework. Legal framework, when I say, not only RBI Act, there are more than another 15 acts which are impacting banking business. Example: FEMA, PMLA, Negotiable Instrument Act, called as NI Act, then Sale of Goods Act, Sale of Goods Act, Contract Act, and so on and so on and so on. So all these acts needs to be complied in a banking. So banking is very interesting. Before I hand over to Vijay sir, why we are, let us, because your students, please understand, you are a CA. If you are a CA, you may go into employment. If you are in employment, understand banking, because needs every businessman needs banking. Two, you are a CA, you are going into practice, then understand banking, so that you do bank audit, you arrange loans to clients. Three, you are consultant, understand banking. You are CA, you want to become businessman, then also you need to understand banking. So for a student, bank audit is fantastic audit, wherein all activities finally will go and stand in banking. What is bank? Bank is nothing but accumulation of GDP. Whatever incomes in country or in bank, meaning bank audit is GDP audit. So be a privileged student to be a part of bank audit. Now I hand over to Vijay Srinivas sir.
Is it audible? I'm not sure because I was controlling this YouTube, so hopefully it is audible. Uh, Thank you, Premnath Garu. Ultimately, this session is considered to be more of unstructured, so nothing much in terms of formal and all. So let's also share the views in terms of how we can proceed with the various audit scenarios. So that's what the motive is about. So here, for you as a student, I put a question whether the experience what you gain in bank audit will be helpful for appearing in your CA final exam. That's a question which I posted. So at the end of this bank audit, not about this session, once you have completed the bank audit, if in case you are part of that and you have been participating throughout, I suggest you try to attempt the previous question from the CA final examination question. I'll give a sample assignment kind of thing, so that from this previous final question from the advanced auditing, just try to attempt whether you are able to answer 1A, 1B, and 5A, which you have identified purely based on the bank audit, if in case you are involved, right from audit planning through the audit documentation till the final reporting, including identifying those issues after the balance sheet date, events after the balance sheet date, and also the way you communicate all those audit findings and all through audit memo. So kindly take up this assignment once you are part of the bank audit. Try to attempt CA final 1A, 1B, and 5A, while not referring to any audit standards, merely based on your experience in the bank audit, to what extent you are able to answer. So that will provide an answer to the question which I've asked, whether if you are involving in the bank audit, whether it will help you while attending the subject like audit in CA final. Okay, that's what the importance of this bank audit gives in terms of various output insights what we have. For you as a student, what I also suggest is, apart from the regular activities in terms of audit and all, when you understand the entity from SA 315 perspective, when I say entity, we all know banking, the way it works, the way it has its inherent risk, the way it follows the documentation. Now, first thing you need to understand is under the bank, what kind of products we are dealing with as an auditor from the deposit perspective and from the loans perspective. Now, under the each loan, can you prepare a process note? Let's say, for example, if I'm dealing with cash credit, what is the process note I should be involving? As you can see, you can easily make out based on the screen that this is generated through AI. Of course, Claude is a platform in a free version only. Now, if I have to understand the entire process of cash credit, what type of cash credit will be involved in, whether stock, book dates, or all those things, government securities and all. And for that, what is the process note each of that will have, what is the process note each of that will have, like the key features, drawing power on what basis, and then again a process note which products which are derived through walk-in versus products which are derived through a web-based application. So each one differs, is it not? That is where, one second, let me just connect to the net. So we need to understand when we take up this kind of documentation perspective. Visibility is back. Okay. So when I come back with regard to this process documentation perspective, first thing when I seek a particular product to be validated in terms of loans. So what you can, even if you go visit the particular website of the bank, you can see when you apply for a particular loan like vehicle loan, what are the documentary requirement he is placing in the website. So that is nothing but the policy what they are following. Now, when you review those document in the file, when you are seeking that audit procedure, then you can map with the particular information what it has been displayed in the website through documentation process. So any gaps are the points which will be making note. These are the missing thing. Like say for example, if it is vehicle loan, there should be a RC, original RC to be in the file. It's not the duplicate copy. It's not the copy of the RC because the hypothecation, the particular vehicle is been hypothecated to the bank. So that way I need to have an RC within the file. So these are all coming from the policies where when you are performing the document verification, you ensure that whether that particular has been ticked as an available kind of thing. So what I suggest is try to come up with a process note for each of them. As a kind of the validation from our side, what we have done is we have prepared various process notes with regard to gold loan, the bank guarantees and LCs, agricultural loan, priority sector loans, NPA classification, SWIFT based kind of thing, a little bit learning from the fraud which has happened in PMB, what exactly has taken place, so that it will be learning. So this entire information, whatever I am displaying, will be shared through a particular link, Google link in the chat of YouTube. So you can maybe copy that particular link and get access. Okay. So first preparation is trying to ensure that you understand the each product, understand the policies, then make a checklist out of it. What are the documents to be available, and then you validate. Some of you people might also get access in terms of various command prompts available in the Finacle. Let's say, for example, Prema sir was mentioning about the Finacle through a couple of banks like Bank of India and all, or FlexiCube is available in Canara Bank and private banks like HDFC. So make a note of all these menus which are primarily required for you to perform a transaction analysis. Now here the question might come for you is how do you identify which particular transaction to be verified from the transaction perspective or which transaction to be verified from the documentation perspective? Is it not? So if you apply SCF 520, you'll come across something called stratification. Stratification is about what kind of loan a particular what you call in what category the loan is falling in. Let me just go to some demonstration where you can understand this particular aspect. So here, if I have this particular loan and if I'm applying a pivot out of it, where I'm inserting a pivot out of it, then I can drag the respective product account wise, or probably you can say the customer ID, and then you are asking for the sanction amount, loan amount, and then again you are dragging another loan amount. This time, instead of count sum, you are modifying the value to be a count. Okay, so here when you group this particular thing, when you group the summarized values, okay, as a group kind of thing, then you'll get some kind of slab system information. Okay, so you can understand which particular, let's say, for example, let me sort out from the highest to lowest, and the loan account also let me start out from the largest to this thing. As you can see, when I put a sort on the loan amount, this of course is the customer IDs. Maybe you want the names and all, you can drag, but in my data which I provided, I've removed the names considering the confidentiality and all. But if in case you have access to that, you can even put the customer name. Better way is the customer ID, because that will be a unique ID. Customer identification, that is CIF, will be unique for each customer. Within that, he can have multiple loans. So this means this particular customer is having four different kind of loans. Okay, so it is showing that there are four different kind of loans what he has taken. Okay, let me just expand this, wherein let me just use the data to have, or let me just convert into small currency so that I can see, though it is not meant to be converted into currency, just for the sake of display or just to save the time. So here if you see, Prema sir was mentioning about SOL ID followed with a particular loan code. So that means the same customer is having multiple loans within the same product category. It is possible if it is a gold loan, because I might be going for multiple gold loans where I pledge multiple jewelry, not one at a time, depending on the requirement. But the same thing, if it is coming under vehicle loan, or coming under housing loan, or coming under CCOD, that is a point of risk. Because a customer ID having multiple accounts within the same product, wherein already one product is available, so it could be that there could be various issues. It could be different businesses also genuinely possible, but that's a red flag what you can think of identify. Okay, this is where when you do this kind of pivoting, when I sort through customer loan account, it gives a different strategy again. So here, this is the top loan amounts are only 19 lakh, total is 19 lakh, but it is having 7 different accounts. Okay, so this is where the stratification point will come into picture, where with the help of the customer codes, you generate and extract the data and perform a stratification. Then you identify, what is that you identify? When the loan amounts are high, when the loan amounts are high, that means there is a risk of exposure is more to the bank. So even if some kind of what you call overdrawn a particular limit, or some kind of cash drawing happening within the CCOD which is not permitted, or there could be various things. So my concentration will be on the number of transactions within this account which is having higher loan. I'll be going into the Finacle, try to extract the ledger of the customer, try to evaluate the transactions which are performed during the year, try to compare with the previous year, and try to identify if there are something which is the reason he is using the full utility of that particular loan within the sanction limit. So my concentration will be more on the number of the transactions within the ledger. Now, when I sort down based on the loan, that means the customer is having multiple loans. Now here, more than the transaction, I'll be worried about what kind of documentation he is processed, because the customer having multiple loans, there is every possibility that there could be certain lapses in the KYC because he's a customer already taken multiple loans, or there could be some lapses in terms of the product what he is dealing with, where they say, okay, he's already having that loan, and anytime we can approach and probably ask for whatever missing documentation. So that's the comfort usually human tendency will come into the play. So that way, when you stratify the data, you will identify which customer you should be looking into Finacle or Cubes or whatever it may be in terms of transaction, or which customer which are having multiple loans where I'll be concentrating more on the documentation. So here I can share one insight in one of the bank branch, which also I was referring to various seminars also. The crux of certain loans, like say for example agricultural loan. Now when it deals with agricultural loan, the documentation speaks about something in terms of course this is gold loan, but when you go for agricultural loan, it requires something like pata passbook and MRO certificate about what crop he has cultivated during the year, and the branch manager has to make a physical visit to the particular unit, identify the crop with the one provided by the MRO. He has to conduct a neighbor check also whether the same crop has been continued or cultivated during the particular year. He has to make a note of it. So there is a lot of documentation requirement when it comes to an agricultural loan. Coming to the other part of the loan, which is directly linked to the agriculture, is agri gold loan. Okay, wherein a agriculturist, if he is applying for a gold loan, because of the information document what he provides, he'll be given a agricultural gold loan, which will have straight benefit of 2% interest subvention. So that means he is getting 2% benefit compared to the other people who are applying for the same gold loan. Now, if you see the documentation of agri gold loan, it doesn't require all these things. It doesn't require patta passbook. It doesn't require MRO certificate. It doesn't require branch manager to visit and perform a crop visit or perform a physical verification. What it requires is a simple copy of the patta passbook showing that he is the owner of the crop. Now, another issue is all these patta passbook will have some unique ID. Okay, like PAN number or GST number, what we carry for agricultural crops also, there will be a unique ID allocated through this Pata passbook by MRO. The problem here is whether this unique ID is being captured in the CBS. Like in Tally, I can create a debtor without mentioning his GSTN number. I can create a vendor without mentioning his GST number, because to pass a transaction, this is not mandatory. Tally voucher will not ask you to enter the numbers. Without this, it will not disallow. It will not allow the transaction. It's not so. Similarly, in CBS, when I create these kind of loans, it's not mandatorily to have the KYD or the key ID of the respective products. Now, due to this, what happens if a person is providing a copy of a Patta passbook? There could be every possibility, because there is no unique ID captured in the system which MIS throws. There is every possibility that the same Patta passbook of some other person, the copy, because it's only a copy. Okay, there is no original verification. Of course, original verification in terms of the passbook has to be done. But saying so, when we are dealing with the bank branch audit, there is every possibility that the same Patta passbook copy submitted by my cousin or my brother can be used by me to get that 2% interest subvention. Okay, I'm not making any vague comment. We have identified one of the bank in one of the branch, which has led to identification of roughly 200 plus agri gold loans, which is having the same Pata passbook copy. Now, again, the different story whether we should be classifying it as a fraud or and all, these are all interpretational issues. But saying so, because of the stratification, if I say more loan, that means my concentration in the way I deal with the particular documentation will be something you as an article assistant or art staff, when you go in, this is where you can probably do some kind of validation, because uh, identifying, arranging the data, converting the data into structured form, these are all not an issue anymore. As long as you have AI, let's say for example, why I'm saying not an issue, because these are all will be taken care by AI through some kind of mechanism, of course, keeping in mind the confidentiality and security kind of aspects. But it's not a problem anymore. Let's say for example, to demonstrate, let's say I have this trial balance, wherein of course I don't copy the bank name and all. As long as I skip the bank name, I don't think any issue with regard to the confidentiality. Or probably I'll replace the bank name with some dummy name. It's pretty much possible. Just put Control H and try to replace with something else. Okay, so pretty easy for us to modify the particular thing. But I can just copy this entire trial balance and come back to the Excel and paste the particular data. I don't need to worry about using data fixed weight, delimited weight, doing some kind of exercise. I can pretty much take the help of Claude to do this particular activity. Okay, so wherein I can do this kind of refinement with a simple prompt. So there you are not bothered about arranging or identifying what you call compiling the data. Okay, let me just connect with this. Just give me a second, because again, when you try to use Claude and all, it requires paid system. So let me just paste and continue. Yeah. So what I say is prepare a trial balance out of this unstructured data, and also provide me with some stratified, some audit flags. Okay, I'm just putting a simple prompt. I can keep on doing this. So I'm not bothered about spending more time on consolidating, compiling, refining, because the entire 2 to 3 days of activity, if it goes into there, then you'll find very small time or very little time to perform the document review. Is it not? So this part, if you can probably try to work out in a way while taking care of the confidentiality and all that aspects, which is pretty much easy. It's only that few minutes of activity you have to do. But if you can take care of that, you'll have ample time to perform document review. Even to extent you can perform a unit inspection of the respective CCOD accounts, where you can go to the particular unit, verify the stock, what they were provided as on 31st March. Or you have other times also in terms of quality time, in terms of understanding various products, not just a couple of products. Okay, so this is where the advantages of AI is there, where you can make out of this, apart from the process notes which I was referring to. Okay, so let's give a few seconds to it and let's come back to the process note. The first thing what we understood is to understand the banking, to understand the various processes, including deposits, because deposit on shares or stock, shares might be different, on a gold loan might be different, on OD, on fixed deposit might be different. So there are many different kind of deposits as well. We also need to take care of the equal interest in whether any leakages, revenue leakages have been identified for not modifying the information in the CBS, due to which in bank is losing certain interest. So this is also falls under our responsibility, because not all are centralized. Few things might be still under the branch control, and that's where we should be evaluating into that. Now, moving forward, let me also share a couple of insights in terms of what other aspects you should be considering about. Let me just put it into full mode. Okay, and more importantly, you also need to understand the NPA classification. Okay, because what is overdue, when a particular account will be coming under SMA 0, when a particular account moves from SMA 0 to SMA 1 and 2, and then goes into the loss asset. Okay, because Prema sir was mentioning about the moratorium, quick moratorium. That's an indication that within 12 months of the loan, it has started non-performing due to, I mean, you would have missed out one EMI, whatever, but it's an indication that the asset is slowly moving into a particular strategy or stress strategy. So that is where you need to understand how an account has to be classified, whether it is overdue in terms of CCOD, in terms of term loan. Both have different methodology. Then within that, when account will be classified as MA 0 or 1, for that, of course, I'll be sharing this bank branch process note. Let me just display that. I'll be sharing this a detailed notebook on understanding the NPA, understanding how SMA 0 will be classified, how a substandard or doubtful asset will be classified, how the provision has to be made, on what basis, because these are all will be directly hitting on your memorandum of changes. And what are the common NPA red flags related, and what are the common ways a window dressing might happen. Okay, that's also I've included, wherein you can consider these, saying that what are the areas which will help you detect those window dressing and all. Okay, so this document you can just have a glance into it. It will guide you. It is hardly 20 pages, which will guide you in terms of how to deal with couple of. And I also mentioned for each of the document what are the strengths of the documents to be verified and how a validation has to be conducted. This is where I said practically when you involve for any kind of question what you get in CA final, procedurally you can link with the responses while you refer to the respective standards, because we will be referring to standards which hardly could be around 5 to 6. That also I mentioned here, saying that which particular standard plays an important role. Now, when you apply these 6 to 7 standards, this might be helping tool for you when you're appearing, when you're writing a question from the audit perspective in a final, which you can probably link up your responses with the respective standard, because you already experienced through practical audit challenges. Okay, so I'll share this particular document as well, which you can copy. Coming back, let's see how far our Excel has worked out. Okay, so from this unstructured data, it's preparing the trial balance. Yes, of course, still taking time. Let me meanwhile show you some other sheet which is already prepared. So this is what the earlier prompt which has done, where it has converted the entire unstructured data into a proper structured trial balance. Okay, and from that, I've asked for audit summary. It has given the complete audit summary in terms of what are the types of accounts we have, what is the total opening debit and credit balances, number of accounts under each category, and what are the issues what we should be concentrating, what kind of sample I should be picking up. Okay, so this is what, if you can come up with this kind of summary, then I think you have ample time to cover the respective practical audit scenarios. Okay. Now, I will be also sharing a particular link which will help you in terms of understanding how do you deal with the NPA provisioning and all, what kind of loan accounts you'll be dealing with. And also it has certain analytical aspects also. And you might say how to prepare it. Obviously, as I said, it's purely AI. What you can add or what your principals or your boss can add is whatever experience he has gained during various years of bank audit. If you can summarize into your bullet points, or you yourself can visit the previous year audit, identify the procedure what they have performed, what kind of working papers they have referred, what kind of decision making support system they have engaged, all that you collate into your proper bullet pointed system, and then take the help of AI like Claude and all to convert the entire thing into a audit checklist. Okay. So let's say, for example, for each of the working paper, what are the things you should be capturing, or how a sample strategy to be followed. Okay. So all these things you can pretty much develop from your own what you call previous year audit, whatever you have, how you deal with the help of a prompt, you can do it anyway. So this is one part I thought of sharing. And coming to the practical aspect, as I said, if you understand the different kind of products, like say for example, gold loan, there it requires a process of appraisal by a goldsmith. And as you all know, during the months of November till March, or post this war has started, there is a huge fluctuation happening within the gold loans. Now, within that, if the gold has been sanctioned based on a loan to value as per the rates which are existing at that point of time, and as on 31st March, the LTV has gone dropped much huge in terms of the gold rate variation. Now, how you deal with that kind of LTV scenario? Whether you are able to validate the whether your bank has involved a process of again taking a appraisal, fresh appraisal on the same gold which they have sanctioned on when it was higher rate, because the provisioning will accordingly change. It's no more secure to 100% the loan what I've given, because a huge drop. If I take up silver, I think in one particular day it has dropped to not more than 1 lakh kind of thing. Now, loan to value based on the appraisal given by the goldsmith on that particular date versus as on 31st March, if there is a huge variation, how is that I am going to deal with that? Whether the bank has engaged the reappraisal of that particular loan, or should I calculate the provision based on the LTV arrived at based on the rate as on 31st March? What kind of provision? Because that will become unsecured. Okay, just for your sake, if I am taking a loan of 1 lakh on a gold worth 1 lakh 50, which where the gold loan has come down to 75,000 because of the change in the value, that means out of 1 lakh loan, it's not 100% secured. Only 75,000 is secured. So that 25%, 25,000 provision should be more than the secured loan what we give, is it not? So that is where we should be understanding the processes. We should be keeping at par with the fair market value of that particular assets, and then try to decide what kind of provisioning we should be doing on the respective products, what kind of provision we should be putting on that particular thing. These things can't be automated in the system for your kind sake. System will accept, which is of course certain things which are centralized, but the other things again have to be restructured or rescheduled at the branch manager. Okay, so whether this is being done in the system level, if it is not done, that I'm dealing with all the loans which are given in the particular bank might have this issue, that might be a huge difference on the balance sheet. Okay, and that could be something which might be coming as part of your MOCs also. So these things, you as an article assistant, of course, your boss will be taking care of, principal will be taking care of the aspects in terms of the higher level, saying that which particular customer class, what you call concentration customer is there in the given bank. Like you find certain customers playing a key role in the entire banking bank branch, where they would have taken huge number of loans or huge amount. So principal might be concentrating on trying to review the particular accounts, but you something when you join these 3 days audit, you need to work out something different from the regular approach, the so-called black box approach. From the practical scenario, what could be which might be impacting the balance sheet? What could be those things which might be impacting the documentation part? Is what you should be looking into. Okay. As I said, all these things will be placed in the Google Drive. This is a drive where I'll be sharing all this information. I'll be placing this drive link in the chat of YouTube. Okay. Now moving forward, I've also given a particular scenario. Let me check whether it has done this particular work or not. I was giving various scenario. Okay, there's an issue here. Fine. Let's move ahead. Coming to other aspect, like for example, you don't know, you have this bank audit guidance note, and you are not sure which part to be referred for what purpose, because ICA has published various resources in terms of early warning signals, in terms of bank audit guidance note, exclusively for the bank branch audit. Now, in this case, when you want to take a help, either you can create your custom GPT, like say for example, custom GPT is something I believe all of you are pretty much aware or started using the GPT, and is also free for till up to November for you all people, for all the Indians basically. Here, I can probably go with something called custom GPT, where I can upload all the resources published by ICI. Okay, it's because if I can use pretty much the CAG. Yeah, sorry for the glitch. I think I'm back online. Yeah, sorry for the glitch. We are back online. So here, when I go to this My GPTs, where you can create your own GPT. If I go to this Bengaluru-based GPT which I've created recently, so here what I've done, I've taken the help of temporary chart to provide me with a schema. Schema is what? You're giving a couple of instructions to the custom GPT how you should be behaving, how the document reference number to be created. So here I've given that particular schema to the custom GPT. Here you can see this is a schema which is generated through normal ChatGPT only by using, of course, the incognito mode. That is your temporary GPT. So there, temporary chart I created this where I placed how it has to behave from the resources what I've shared, all the bank audit guidance notes and all, while disabling the web search and all. Kindly ensure that you disable this web search and all, because whatever information you need, it has to be generated only from the resources what you have provided, not from elsewhere. Now, when I name it, when I give these instructions, while enabling this particular is available for various other people also through GPT Store. So that means anyone in even in your mobiles, even in your laptops, when you put this search of Bengaluru AI Bank Audit Assistant, you will be able to view these. So that means whatever analysis I have to do, I can create this thing and I can start interacting. Let's say, for example, help me. I'll just put a chart over here. I'm saying help me in terms of providing some bank audit documentation with regard to agri gold loan verification. So let's say provide me list to perform audit of agricultural loans. So when it is responding, it is not responding from the global source. It is trying to visit the bank audit guidance note. As you can see, it will be visiting the knowledge source and try to identify the suggestions or the guidance given by the institute, and tries to provide as a form of a checklist and then trying to help you out. So this I have created, you yourself can do, where you can upload all the guidance notes of the publications of ICA, which you can take up while performing an audit. As you can see, it is also giving the audit procedure, documents to be verified, the risk indicators, how you need to validate the end use, and with regard to Kisan credit card, what are the special verification procedure you have to follow, how you have to arrive at the drawing power, and how do you apply the interest subvention in case if it is applicable, asset classification. So it is giving complete guidance while ensuring that it is not hallucinating, because the information is coming from your own custom GPT which is created, where you have disabled the web search. Okay, so these are the few tricks what you can prepare. You don't have to go to bank for doing this. Before you start your audit itself, you can create your resources, one through this, or second, you can probably take the help of the GPT itself, where some in Claude or apps like Claude or Perplexity itself, where it will provide those relevant HTML codes which can do this activity. For example, I can have something like a tool which will do a consolidation of multiple CCOD accounts. What is CCOD? cash credit and overdraft accounts based on certain criteria like stock statements or the debtors or creditors. Now, if I have to consolidate all that into one particular file, it will be a cumbersome process because you'll have multiple such files which you have to consolidate, and that too being in an unstructured format, something like this. Now, when you do with this kind of data, how about taking the help of some HTML which you would have created with the help of the GPT or Claude and all, wherein I can run this particular tool, wherein I can use the help of Claude to process these particular applications, wherein it consolidate all these multiple CCOD accounts into single account. Just browsing through, I'll select all these. So with the click of a button, it is going to process all this into a single consolidated file. Okay. So this, as I said, of course, these tools will be placed in the Google Drive link, what I'll be sharing with you, where you can try on this. But what I suggest is each bank differs in their own way. So you can, before you walk into the bank, try to identify based on the previous year audit all that working papers what you have, while you ensure that you remove the bank name and if possible you remove the customer names also, and then try to work out a tool which can practically help you while performing the audit in terms of consolidating, compiling, or creating those kind of information in terms of audit flags and all that stuff. So this part you can pretty much do even before you walk into the bank. Okay. So these are the things what we thought of sharing, and let me check if Premna sir has something to add, because ultimately the purpose of these sessions is one, share a couple of insights the way you deal with the bank audit. Second thing, the we can share a couple of resource documents what we have created, where you can take the help of those while you try to understand the products. And third thing, as we also mentioned, these audit procedure, if you can involve yourself, is also going to help you as a student while appearing for exam. And as a given one small challenge for you, if you are involving in bank audit, post bank audit, try to go to the BOS of ICA and try to answer 1A, 1B, and 5A mere purely based on your audit experience, what you have gained, and see to what extent you are able to answer this question. If you are able to do even if 60%, that means this procedure what you have conducted through bank audit is helping you as a student also, not only as a audit staff. Okay, let me hand.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Now we have, as per the initial understanding or discussion, we had two types of loan. One is term loan and the other one is working capital loan. Since we have already approaching 1:30, let's try to close this in less than 5-10 minutes of time. So as we have, I'll go back to basics again so that it gets revised. So let me start typing so that it is easy for you to have a track as what we are discussing. So we have a term loan. Term loan is, say for example, asset value, asset value and asset life, EMI, asset life, then EMI is EMI period is always less than asset life. This is a control. What is risk? Risk is more the moratorium, more the moratorium, more the risk. This is term loan. Then asset value less margin for borrower contribution is loan amount. Is loan amount. This is a basic concept we need to understand. Why? Because if the value is depreciated over a period of time and the loan is not repaid properly, when you try to liquidate the asset, the value should be equal to the loan amount. In such a way, this is figured. That is the reason why you have gold loan, you have LTV, wherein they give something around 60%, say for example, 60% of value of gold. Why? Because in case of risk of default, loan amount should be recovered by sale of asset. Why we are discussing this? The purpose of discussing this is the same concept is again used on CC, OD, working capital loan. So for working capital loan, term of loan is 1 year. So every year there should be renewal. Now what is the asset in working capital loan? W loan, I say WCL. It's called as a working capital loan. What is the asset? Is net working capital is the asset. What is net working capital? Net working capital is stock, or we call it as inventory, plus accounts receivable less accounts payable is equal to net working capital. Is asset. Now less margin. Like you have a margin, like you have 40% margin here. Like you have 40% margin here. If the vehicle value is 1 lakh, the loan is given up to an extent of 80%. 20% is margin. Say car loan, car amount 10 lakhs. Loan is say 9 lakhs. So margin is 1 lakh. In a similar way, if net working capital, which is an asset, which is current asset, say for example, this is 10 crores, margin is generally 25%, meaning less. So 2.5 crores is taken out, 2.5 crores is taken, and WCL is generally 7.5 crores. It changes depending upon the loan, depending upon the product. Now, what is the risk in this? Risk in WCL. Risk in WCL is invalid, non-realizable inventory is one risk. Invalid, non-realizable trade receivables. You say it is a trade receivable, but party doesn't pay money. Like say, how do you decide this non-realizable is age of inventory. Age of inventory is 180 days. It should be less than 180 days. Age of inventory should be less than or equal to 180 days. Then it is valid inventory. In the same way, age of trade receivables, I hope you know that we calculate 90 days. You have a schedule 3, you will write down the debtors, trade receivables less than 1 year, more than 1 year, 180 days, etc., etc. So invalid is, sorry, not less than, I'll say it is greater than. Here also greater than. It is invalid. Then there is a risk in working capital. Risk in working capital is risk to the working capital loan. So how do you find out invalid? How do you find out invalid inventory? Through ratio analysis. What is ratio analysis? Ratio analysis is stock turnover ratio and invalid trade receivables ratio is TR, turnover ratio. Stock turnover in days and trade receivables in days. If this trade receivable in days and stock is greater than 180 days, then the asset is bad. Trade receivables is greater than 90 days, the asset is bad. Now, we have talked about trade payables here. Somewhere we have talked about accounts payable. Accounts payable. What is accounts payable? If accounts payable or trade payable is in ratio number of days is greater than generally 45 days, then borrower is having double finance, meaning why do you need working capital loan? You need working capital loan because of the working capital cycle. Now, what is working capital cycle is? I'll write down here so that this is a very, very basic thing that we need to understand. As I said, we as a chartered accountants, when you become a chartered accountant, you need to work as a professional in company. So you need to understand the cash generating cycle. Cash generating cycle. I hope you might have already come across this word. Cash generating cycle is less than you borrow from bank. You borrow from bank. Now, if accounts payable, vendor is financing. Vendor is financing you. And in vendor is financing and WCL bank is financing. Vendor is also financing you, bank is also financing you, meaning you are getting a double finance, which should be discouraged. So more the trade payables in a borrower is a risk. So more the accounts payable is risk. How do you make all this analysis is what we will be now going into the practical demonstration. We are now going into practical demonstration account statement. So I am taking raw material plus consumables plus finished goods is closing stock. On this closing stock, 25% is margin. So drawing power. So what is net working capital? I forgot to write here. The net working capital, which is called as WCL, is also called as DP, is called as drawing power. So there are three things in the bank. One is sanctioned loan. Is, say for example, loan is sanctioned for 7.5 crores. Loan outstanding on month end is, say for example, 7 crores. Then drawing power month end. Sorry for the interruption. So what is out of order? Out of order definition is outstanding balance. Loan outstanding at month end is 7 crores. Is greater than, drawing power is 6.9. or sanctioned loan, whichever is less. And this situation is for continuous 90 days, then account is NPA. This is the rule. Let us come back now. So raw material, consumable, finished goods, closing stock, drawing power on stock. Now this is the drawing power. The drawing power is 900. Account balance is 748. What is account balance? Say for example, this is the account transaction. The closing balance is 748. Closing balance is 748. This whether this 748, say for example 748, closing balance is 748. The limit or drawing power is 748.6 here. So here the account is within the limit. So now come back here. 748. Now the sanction limit as per the bank sanction letter is 7.5. Now banker will show you this and tell you the account is performing. Now we are now making a ratio calculations. We are making ratio analysis. We are making the ratio analysis to find out the validation of the stock, whether the stock is good or not. We are trying to validate. So now what am I doing? Raw material by stock, closing stock, consumable by stock, finished goods by stock I am making. And now you see the consumables, what the stock that is given to the bank is 50%, meaning the borrower is not having a good stock, is a risk for the borrower, is a risk for the banker. Next one. Debtors, opening debtors plus sales minus closing debtors is collection. I hope you know this. You might have done this in single entry system of bookkeeping. I am doing here now again. I am trying to find out what is the theoretical collection that should have been there. Every month the statement is given. So from every month statement I am trying to find out what is the opening debtors plus sales minus closing debtors, now collection. Now what is the actual amount of deposits that are there in the account? These are the actual deposits in the bank. Deposits. Now all that actual deposits in the bank is coming to 3 crores or 3,000. Then total collection theoretically is 10,000. Actual collection is 7, meaning what is the difference? The difference is maybe if these sales and debtors is correct, calculation is correct, then the shortage is that he might be using some other bank account to deposit all this, which is violation of RBI circular. No, this calculation is wrong, meaning that the sales and debtors figures given to the banker is wrong. Why are they giving wrong statements? They are giving wrong statements because to see that the drawing power is well within the outstanding limit. If limit is more, my drawing power should be more. To make the more drawing power, I will make more debtors and more closing stock so that my DP level will increase. When I increase my debtors and increase my stock, my collections also should increase. My collection is not increasing means that the debtors is wrong. One issue. Next, I have cost of goods sold. You all know opening stock plus purchases minus cost of goods minus closing stock is cost of goods sold. If I have a cost of goods sold and if I have sales, I can calculate the margin. If margin is 7%, your profit is low. If your profit is low, you cannot repay the interest. The rate of interest is 8%, but your gross margin that you are earning from the business is 7%. Your rate of interest is 12%. You cannot repay this loan. That is one indication. You are saying that you have a drawing power. Yes, drawing power is there, your closing stock is there, your debtors is there, but you don't have a repayment capacity because your margin is less. No, still if you say, no, I will borrow from outside and repay, this means you are borrowing new loans to repay the old loans, which is not good. Then debtors. Debtors in days and stock in days, which you can calculate. I think I'll not go into this. You know, as an article student, you know what is debtors in days, you know what is stock in days. You calculate the sales divided by the debtors into the 360 days. So similarly, you will get debtors and stock. Now you know we have understood here debtor should always be greater than 90. Debtors we have already understood it should be always greater than 90 days. Stock should always be greater than stock should always be greater than 180 days. Stock trade receivable should always be greater than less than 90 days. Inventory should always be less than 180 days. If it is more, then it is invalid and non-realizable. So you find all these are non-realizable, though he has a drawing power here, but the value of stock is not good, hence the drawing power is negative, so the account becomes NPA. Now, the problem is this is a painful process, so we need to have a tool. So, how that tool will work? Let us try to have a quick look. Yeah, closing stock. So, I will now make remember all these tools are made by the chartered accountant students only using AI. So, you need to understand how you can work with the AI so that your work will become easy. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm saving the bank data here, and I'm adding a borrower here. I'm adding a borrower like this. In bank you might be doing 20 borrow, right? Now coming back here, loan statements. Now in the same way I'll also add the loan statements so that the system will start calculating the drawing power on its own. Loan statements. Loan statements are provided by the banker. I'm adding all those loan statements. The moment I add all those loan statements, then it is taking all those loan statements, and now you see the system has already calculated the drawing power, the difference between the closing stock and so on, etc., etc. All that DP analysis is being done here. Now, not only that, your observations are all already taken care here. Auto generate the report. Now, once you generate the report, now you can straight away take all this and then put it into your LFAR. Then again, for peer review, you need documentation, and the documentation is also done by the system. Meaning, as you verify, as you as you start working, documentation is also going along with you. So you are not making any extra effort to prepare a documentation. The system, as you work, the documentation is also going simultaneously. So this is all about bank audit. Let's come back to where we have started. In bank audit, we have loans audit is a bank audit. Generally, loan audit is bank audit. As a part of bank audit, you make a reporting in IAR, LFAR, ICOFAR, Ghosh, Jilani and all. So once you have a very planned structure in Excel, then with Excel um, analysis, carry out the analysis using Excel like sort, filter, if condition, VLOOKUP, pivot and financial modeling. All these things become automation, and we are also further using AI as a automation. So we are doing all these things for two types of loan: working capital loan and term loan. And we are also looking at EWS red flags, etc., etc., etc. Finally, all our observations will result into a reporting. So this is what we thought of discussing. Anyhow, the channel on which we are doing this, previous past videos of 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes videos are there on the banking and Excel. You can refer to that. We'll keep updating the channel with the new workings for the benefit of students. Thank you very much for your patient listening. All the best. With this, we close.